Have you ever stared out your window and wondered, is my neighbor hiding a dark secret? You see them every day. They wave. They mow the lawn. Their porch light flickers at the same time every night. But behind that friendly smile and trimmed hedge, could there be something sinister lurking? Maybe you've noticed something off. A strange sound at night, a package that never gets picked up, or curtains that never open. Today, I'm going to dig deep and find out if my neighbor is hiding something without them ever knowing. What I discovered shook me, and it might just make you look at your own neighbor very differently. Welcome back to CrimeBot Chronicles, where dark stories and real-life horror collide. Subscribe, like, share, and hit that bell so you never miss a chilling truth hidden in plain sight. Here's a fact that might unsettle you. According to recent surveys, more than 12% of people admit they wouldn't report a crime committed by a neighbor, either out of fear, loyalty, or uncertainty. That means your next-door neighbor could be involved in something illegal, disturbing, or even violent, and no one might ever know. Creepy neighbor behavior, strange routines, and subtle signs. These things build a puzzle we're sometimes too afraid to piece together. Let me take you into a story. Not just a story of suspicion, but a slow descent into obsession, paranoia, and unsettling discovery. It began when I moved into a quiet suburban cul-de-sac. Peaceful. At least it looked that way. But the house next door, number 48, gave me chills. Not immediately. At first, it was just the way the blinds never opened. Then the way the trash bins were never out. Then, the night I saw someone standing motionless in the upstairs window, long past midnight. He never waved, never smiled, never acknowledged anyone. No friends visited, no deliveries, just silence, heavy silence. Most people might brush it off. Maybe he's just private, I told myself. But that seed of doubt had been planted. Is my neighbor hiding something? I began watching more closely. Every night, I noticed patterns. Lights flickering in irregular sequences. Faint metallic sounds, like chains. And one night, a muffled scream. Just once. But almost like a gasp. Was it a TV? A nightmare? Or something worse? I reported nothing. I was scared. What if I was wrong? What if I was right? Psychologically, our brains are wired to seek patterns. To detect danger in the ordinary. It's a survival mechanism. But sometimes, it betrays us. We start to see threats where none exist. But what if the danger is real? What if those red flags aren't paranoia, but signals? In neighborhoods all over America, people are living next door to secrets, hidden addictions, criminal activities, people with dark pasts. Some bury trauma. Some bury truth. Some, disturbingly, bury bodies. I did my research. There are countless cases where suspicious neighbor behavior preceded dark revelations. Take the case of Dennis Nilsen in the UK. His neighbors complained of smells. No one imagined the horror behind his closed door. Or Jeffrey Dahmer, whose neighbors thought he was just a quiet loner. It was only when the police finally stepped in that the dark secrets next door were exposed. It begs the question, how many monsters are hiding behind garden fences and porch lights? So I took things further. I started cataloging my neighbor's movements. Not out of malice. Out of necessity. I needed to know if I was imagining things, or if he really was hiding something. There were gaps in time when he was gone for days. No car movement, no lights, just total darkness. Then one day, a thick, black garbage bag appeared near the side fence. Not in the bin. Just sitting there. Flies. The stench. It was unbearable. It disappeared the next morning. Was it just old food? Or something worse? I had to find out. So I did something I probably shouldn't have. I walked around the side of his property. Just once. Just far enough to see into the window. What I saw chilled me. A single table. No chairs. A metal hook in the ceiling. Stained tarp folded in the corner. That's it. Why would anyone have that in their dining room? I stepped back. My pulse was thundering. This was no longer curiosity. It was real, tangible. I was terrified, not just of him, but of what I might uncover. Is my neighbor dangerous? Is this how people disappear without a trace? I couldn't sleep. Every creak in my house, Every shadow outside made me flinch. I started researching again, looking into the property's history, previous owners. I discovered something that made my stomach turn. In 2008, a woman had gone missing from that very house. She was never found. The case went cold. Police had no leads. Her name was Evelyn Mercer, age 34. Vanished one night after calling in sick to work. She lived alone until she rented out a room to a man. No ID ever verified. No trace of him either. Until now, I had to talk to someone. I called a friend who worked in private investigations. I gave him the details, and within a week, he got back to me with something terrifying. My neighbor wasn't who he claimed to be. The name on his mailbox didn't match any property records. No social media. No driver's license. No utility bills in his name. It was all paid through a shell company. Completely off-grid. This man had wiped his identity. But let's pause. Ask yourself this. What would drive a person to erase themselves from society? Is it shame? A past mistake? Or the desire to hide something no one should ever know? There's a psychological profile for these kinds of people: high-functioning, socially avoidant, yet deeply manipulative. They know how to blend in just enough. They wear masks of normalcy, but underneath, darkness festers. I contacted local authorities. I gave them what I had: surveillance logs, photographs, historical records. I was met with caution. Without clear evidence, there was little they could do. I was warned not to trespass again, that I could be the one in legal trouble. That's when I realized something deeper. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. It traps you. Because once you see the signs, once you suspect, you can never go back to innocence. Then came the night that confirmed everything. I was lying in bed, rain pattering softly, when I heard it. A loud crash, followed by dragging sounds. This time, I called the police. I told them I feared someone was being hurt. They came. 3 squad cars. I watched from my dark window as they banged on the door. A long pause. Then the door opened. My neighbor appeared, unbothered. They went inside. 40 minutes later, they emerged with nothing. No arrest. Just a stern look from one officer in my direction, as if I had wasted their time. But the next morning, he was gone. Just like that. Vanished. No truck. No goodbye. No forwarding address. House left unlocked. Empty. Abandoned. Like he was never there. Police said they had no obligation to disclose what they found. Case closed. But not for me. Because in that moment, I knew I had brushed up against something real. A dark secret that had simply moved on, leaving no trace but the paranoia it sowed. I share this not to encourage stalking or suspicion, but to open your eyes. Signs your neighbor is hiding something are not always obvious, but they exist. Watch for inconsistent routines, secrecy, odd smells, strange visitors, or a complete lack thereof. These aren't proof, but they are flags. When paired with intuition and investigation, they form patterns. And patterns lead to truth. So the next time you walk past your neighbor's house and wonder why they never wave back, or why you hear footsteps when no one should be home, ask yourself, is there something more lurking behind that door? In every suburb, every city block, every apartment complex, there are stories, dark stories, real-life horror, chilling truths hidden in plain sight. The neighbor who buried his wife under the garden. The woman who ran a dark web scheme from her basement. The man who lived with his mother's corpse for 6 years, pretending she was alive. Reality is stranger than fiction. You don't need to live in a haunted house to experience fear. Sometimes, the most terrifying things live next door. If this story made you uncomfortable, it should. That tension, that fear, it's your brain trying to protect you. But sometimes fear is a clue. A signal that something isn't right. Don't ignore it. But don't act recklessly either. Stay aware. Stay curious. And most of all, stay safe. This has been another chilling dive into the dark with CrimeBot Chronicles, where true crime meets terrifying truth. If you've ever had a creepy neighbor, or sensed something strange next door, share your story in the comments. Let's start a conversation. And don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. Your next door horror story might just be our next investigation, because in the end, you never really know who's living just a few feet away. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your doors locked.